What's going on, everybody? Today we are doing a special. This is a special presentation. We're doing a special show. We had some conversation in the back chat. You know, I got my boys here. Two of the three other members of the Dream Team. I got my man Jay Fax. I got my man David Chandler with me. We just locked in. You know, shout out to DMG. This is Paradigm Shift 314. And the topic is atheism in the forefront of conflicts, debunking the misconception. And so how we got to this particular topic is, you know, it was just a conversation, and there was a statement made that there were no wars came through by way of atheism. Was that what it was, Facts?
It was something along the lines of no wars ever fought because of atheism, something like that. That's a paraphrase. I want him to get to explaining his position itself so he can clarify it, but he hasn't yet. I don't know.
Yeah. Hopefully he get on, and then he can at least get in the comments. I'm gonna go through the presentation before I really dig deep into discussing with anybody. But the challenge was to drop everything in the back chat. But why do a back chat? I'm willing to jump out there, so why not just do a whole video on it? So I think the best thing for me to do is just get right into it. No frills. We're just gonna go straight forward. So even though it's good for y'all to see us on the side, I'm gonna blow up the actual presentation so you can see that full screen. Atheism in the forefront of conflicts, debunking the misconception. And so the introduction I put together is a common misconception is that atheism has not played a significant role in historical conflicts, while wars and conflicts are generally driven by a complex interplay of political, economic, and social and ideological factors. There have been notable instances where atheism was prominently promoted and religious institutions were actively suppressed. This presentation aims to clarify these instances and highlight the leaders involved. I don't want it to be one of those huge presentations where I'm trying to get so in deep. The key is that they said that there were none, and I figured it was a misconception that needed to be addressed. So that's what we're here to do. Before we start, any other thing you wanted to add on that, Facts?
Nah, that's pretty clear and concise to me. We can keep it rolling.
Hey, Dave, you good? Can I rock out?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, let me just cook real fast. So, the historical context: atheism, as the absence of belief in deities, is often conflated with secularism or anti-religious sentiment. Throughout history, several atheist leaders, particularly within the communist regimes, have promoted atheism as part of their broader political and ideological agenda. This led to the persecution of religious communities and the suppression of religious practices, often resulting in significant social conflict. So what I did was I put together just a nice little pack, you know, for those who wanted to get a couple of snapshots of a few leaders, because people genuinely don't know. So, number one, Vladimir Lenin from the Soviet Union. So the time frame for the Russian Civil War was 1917 to 1923. So Lenin, the leader of the Bolsheviks, promoted atheism as part of the communist revolution. The Bolsheviks targeted the Russian Orthodox Church, viewing it as an ally of the old regime and a hindrance to their new order. We'll keep it moving. Joseph Stalin. Stalin continued Lenin's anti-religious campaigns, intensifying efforts to promote state atheism. He persecuted religious leaders, closed places of worship, and promoted atheism through state propaganda.
That shit lasted for dumb long, bro.
1922 to 1953. Again, the Soviet Union. We're gonna keep going. I'm not even going to dig too deep. This is just something I was challenged, and I was asked to prove my case. So that's what I'm gonna do. The boy Enver Hoxha from Albania. A lot of people don't know a lot about him. That's why I chose him There was other people, but I wanted to throw him out there because not Albanians don't really get a lot of play when we have these discussions. So Hoxha declared Albania the world's first atheist state. His regime systematically closed religious institutions, banned religious practices, and promoted atheism through education and propaganda. So suppression of religious practices during his rule from 1944 to 1985. I was born in 87, so that wasn't that far ago.
Sounded like the Cold War.
For sure. Kim Sung. He promoted the Juche ideology, which included atheistic elements. The regime suppressed religious activities, persecuted religious leaders, and enforced state atheism. So this suppression of religious activities during his rule was in 1948 to 1994.
That was fuck. God, why these shits be dumb long, bro?
Yeah, bro. They little reign of terrors be fairly long. Nikita Khrushchev, another Soviet Union guy, renewed anti-religious campaigns in 1953 to 1964. Khrushchev continued the Soviet Union's promotion of atheism with renewed vigor, launching campaigns against religious practices and institutions and propagating atheistic beliefs. Here's a famous guy, Pol Pot, Cambodia. A lot of people don't know about him in the Khmer Rouge regime.
Mm-hmm.
They targeted religious groups, particularly Buddhists, as part of their radical agenda. Pol Pot's regime promoted atheism and sought to eliminate religious influence from Cambodian society.
I'm gonna be real with you, G. This is a whole history lesson for me. I ain't even gonna hold you. The only one that I absolutely knew on this list was Stalin. True story.
Oh wow.
True story. This
See, this
you
one
can do something right now.
Yeah, I know all of these guys. Pol Pot was terrible, and he murdered I don't know how many Cambodians. The Khmer Rouge were chopping people's heads off and leaving them in the river and all of that stuff. You know, they couldn't get it. They tried to run. They tried to flee Cambodia, but Khmer Rouge was everywhere. You know, Pol Pot was a horrible person.
Moving on. So let's look at these numbers. Human losses under various regimes. David, you want to just look at the slide and just point them out?
Joseph Stalin.
42 milli bodies?
Yeah, 42,873,000 people. Mao Zedong, 37,828,000,000 victims since his communist regime started. Vladimir Lenin only killed about 4,017,000 people. Pol Pot killed.
So these dudes was dropping bodies like NBA contract payments.
Yeah, all these people killed more. Well, Hitler killed more people than Lenin did, but Pol Pot killed about 2,397,000. Kiln Jong killed 1,800,000. Nikita Khrushchev killed 110,000, and Enver Hoxha killed 100,000.
So yeah. So the misconception, I wanted to clarify a misconception. The idea that atheism played no significant role in historical conflict stems from a narrow view, which atheism wasn't the sole cause of these conflicts as a whole. But it's crucial to understand it was a core component. So
wait a second. So you telling me I'm not even trying to be funny, right? Like this is an actual metric. So non-Islamic religious wars, I'm assuming that includes Christian, right? Then you got Islamic wars. You're telling me that the far right, that's the non-religious war, like there was no religion behind it?
Yeah, it's a lot more. And so I also see in the comments, I also see in the comments that they're gonna need what do you call it? references. So I'll drop references, which I added to my slide, because when you have a ideology or a thought process where you feel like, let me just finish reading and I'm gonna get to the reference.
Yeah, no, definitely. I didn't mean to take you off
No,
your
you
slide.
good.
That was just crazy.
So challenging the myth of religion is the main cause of war. Atheists and secular humanists often argue that religion is the primary cause of violence and war throughout history. However, while religious ideology influenced campaigns like the Crusades, see, I'm not the person that's going to duck it. I'm gonna put it out there. The Crusades happened, but it's incorrect to attribute most wars solely to religion. Studies show that less than 4% of all wars were religious in nature, and non-religious motivations were responsible for the majority of conflicts. The truth uncovered. The evidence contradicts the belief that religion is the main cause of war. Non-religious motivations, as seen in regimes led by atheist leaders, have resulted in a significant loss of life. Ultimately, human sinfulness emerges as the fundamental cause of wars and violence, challenging misconceptions about the role of religion. You don't gotta use the word sin. I use the word sin because I'm a Christian. You could just say people gonna do what people want to do. You could have your own inhibitions for whatever reason. People get killed every day, B. You know what I'm saying?
So why do people always frontline and push wars for religions? It don't even got to be the Christian faith, any faith for that matter. Why is it that we highlight those but never talk about the sheer, bro? That number is insane. Are we looking at this graph right now? Like, that number is wild, bro. Like, that's wild. We focus on
my graph. I didn't make this graph.
No, I got you. I'm just saying, like, that's crazy. Like, it's not even close. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, why do we highlight the religious wars and ignore all of those? Bro, that's insane. It's like looking at somebody with one pancake and saying, well, look, they got mad pancakes while you sitting in front of a plate with 20.
That's because I'm gonna say this: the average person don't really know that much outside of their hate for the Abrahamic faiths. So when you start naming wars that happened over the last couple millennia, if you don't know anything outside of religious wars, you're not gonna speak on them. If you don't follow political news and things from other countries, most people don't even know half these countries exist. So the reality of it is, if you are going to speak on certain things, you're going to just say it from your vantage point. So, like, I know for a fact people didn't have nothing for Albania on a list. I've never had a conversation where somebody mentioned Albania. We always mention like the Hitlers and what's the guy, Leopold. They always mention them guys, but you don't never mention nothing else. So that lets me know that the average person does not have a handle on this information. I tried to say that if you don't know this information, you're going to look crazy.
They always mention Hitler killing 6 million Jews, but they never tell the whole truth, that he killed 22 million altogether. That's including Catholics, including other Christians, and other people who are termed to be undesirable genetically. He killed, including blacks and Jews, 6 million, including 6.5 million Jews. And then Stalin, he killed about almost 60 million Russians when he cut off the food supply that was coming over from the Ukraine. They don't talk about that. You don't hear about that at all.
Well, a lot of the stuff not going to be discussed because most of these things don't fit our agenda. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean when I say our. When we discuss these things, we have to the information is always presented as against Christianity or against Abrahamic religions. This is not about that. This is about bare bones data. It don't matter what I say. It don't matter what the next person say.
It's just the truth, right? It's strictly the truth, right?
Just go with the data and see what the numbers show. So, what is the primary cause of war if religion can't be blamed for most wars and violence? Then what is the primary cause? That's what I need to know. Like, if we not going to go into if we're not going to go into the details about how many wars there are that have happened holistically that we can physically count, how many of those were religious based? How many of those? I should have added those facts. I might see if I can add that. Um, I probably won't do a part two to this just because it was just to prove a point. The original argument was that there was no atheistic wars or whatever the case may be. I said there was. I was told I was wrong. I said that I did a presentation on this before. I was told I was wrong. That's not my information. I added a little reference chart. I didn't want to make this long. I'm under 15 minutes and I'm at the end. So here you go. List the sources that you can work through. There's a book called The Irrational Atheist, Dissecting the Unholy Trinity of Dawkins, Harris, and Hitchens. Check that book out. R.J. Rummel has wrote 2 books, one called Lethal Politics, and then another one, Death by Government, Genocide and Mass Murder Since the 1900s. Check out them 3 books. There was other ones, but I'm not gonna lie. I had to axe the grind. I wanted to jump on here and really drive home this information because I was told I didn't know what I was talking about.
Can we talk about that question though? Like, can we get some answers to that question? The panel's open, right? Like, I couldn't put it in the chat. I couldn't put the link in the chat. It won't let me for some reason. Let me try again and see if it'll let me. Hold on. Let me try one more time.
See if it lets you.
Yeah, it won't let me. It's saying this comment has failed to post. So yeah, it won't let me do it.
All right, let me see if I can do it. I don't know why it's been acting funny. Hold on, more. I hate when I don't remember how to do stuff. Matter of fact, hold on, let me see if I can comment. If it let me comment, post a comment.
Yeah, it let me comment regular, but it won't let me like comment a link for whatever reason.
All right, the link in the chat.
Yeah, it's in there. It's in there. Put that question back up though. That question was crazy.
What is the primary cause of war if religion can't be blamed for most wars and violence? And then what is the primary cause? I actually wrote that question wrong, but basically, if I don't know if you feel like it, can you, I guess, pull up a second tab and see list how many wars can you find? Like, you know what I'm saying? And then go through the list of how many wars there is, and then put the category. You can even do it like the way how I was looking at it: Islamic wars, Christian wars, Catholic wars. Those all go under the Abrahamic faith. All the other religions you could put in that same category. Anything where you had a dogma and that person didn't believe you're God. You know, yeah. Kim Jong, the new one, said he was born talking and his people believe it. Well, you know, when you worship your leader, you know, those type of things happen.
Well, they were treated as gods. I know Mao was treated as though he was God, and so was Hitler.
And like I said, I purposely didn't put him on this list simply because there's a school of thought where people make him a Christian. Okay, you say that, I'm not gonna argue with you. I'll just skip him and put up the ones that's fully atheist, that you can type their names in and see everything that they did for their country. And it was crazy because a lot of it was communism, and almost communism and Marxism almost was interchangeable with atheism.
Well, it is. Marx wrote Das Kapital before he wrote the Communist Manifesto, and all of it referenced the fact that in order for him to build this communist utopia, he had to get rid of Christianity. When he wrote the Communist Manifesto along with Friedrich Engels, I think one of the planks of the Communist Manifesto was the abolition of Christianity, if I'm not mistaken. I know it was the abolition of family, the abolition of the building of a central bank and all of that. But all of this had to be, in order for all of these things to be implemented, he had to get rid of Christianity. because he hated it. He was a Christian in the beginning until he got hooked up with a philosopher by the name of Ingalls and Darwin. Darwin ended up influencing him to go to the other side, so to speak, and that's when he started studying philosophy, and he graduated, and he became an atheist. And there's a book called Marx and Satan. I can't remember the name of the guy. Let me look it up right now. You can go ahead and finish. I'm gonna look up the book right now.
I'm just running through these names again. Just
Yeah.
Vladimir Lenin.
Is it possible? Because this is just my opinion. I've seen situations where a religious faith or a person that was dogmatically faithful in their beliefs, they tend to stand firmly on that faith in order to oppose tyranny. In majority of cases, is it possible that these specific leaders? Because that's a long list, bro. Like, I'm talking about that graph. That's insane. That's insane, right? Is it possible they were doing their best to curb people from? There's a word for this that I'm looking for. Starting a revolution, so to speak. Is it possible?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the name of the book is Marx and Satan by Richard Wurmbrand, and that's the connection there. Marxism and it was always had something to do with the elimination of Christianity. But yeah, it's a rabbit hole.
I mean, here's my thoughts. The average person who is against, we're not speaking specifically to Christianity at the moment. I'm talking about solely from a theist perspective. The issue is the average person who is against any religious views or any spiritual beliefs will always say that religion is the reason for wars. It's just not the case.
I mean, I've heard that so many times, and it's ridiculous. That's why this really blows my mind. I didn't know the number was so stark. Like, I had no clue it was that stark of a difference.
So it's like we at a point now. We at a point now where we're gonna keep hearing the same arguments. You know why? Because people are gonna refuse it. They're gonna refuse to do the research because it doesn't fit the narrative. The reality of it is that there are these are the people who have no beliefs and they still killed big numbers. You don't believe, and I say beliefs. The correct term is, let me go back to my first page to make sure that I'm not saying nothing crazy. What I'm saying is atheism as the absence of belief in deities is often conflated with secularism and anti-religious sentiment.
Or humanism.
Correct. And so when we discuss these things, you have to put this into perspective. There are a lot of people that don't believe in God and they still commit crimes.
Facts, which is insane. What is the drive? And that's the point of the question, right? Like, I see no one has even touched the question. I don't even know how many people are watching the show right now, but I'm gonna be real with you. I can't even answer that question as it's phrased, bro. Like, that's the motivations are so vast. It's impossible to singularize it on one thing. Like, we can't say, oh, it's all money. We can't say that. We don't know. Because the person might have an ego trip. Some people are in power who are solely built on ego. You get what I'm saying? It's really difficult.
Drunk with power.
Yeah, it's very difficult to hang your hat on one thing, which is why it's very interesting to me that you did a great job putting this together. I didn't know none of this information, fam. And that's me being real.
The reason why all these people killed so many people, I believe, and let's just kind of eliminate the whole atheistic portion of it, even though it's a huge part of it. But I think it's because they all had a psychopathic nature. A person that kills a person just for the heck of it is a psychopath. They don't feel any empathy or remorse. They look at people as objects. Stalin looked at the people that he killed as objects. Stalin did the exact same thing. Mao did the exact same thing. Lenin did the exact same thing. Pol Pot, and the list goes on. These people believe that they were objects, and so these objects are genetically inferior, so they need to be eliminated because we are the elite.
It's really crazy. It's really crazy to think, bro. It's really crazy to think. Let me see the question one more time. That question one more time. That's a great question, fam. What is the primary cause of war? If religion can't be blamed for most wars and violence, then what is the primary cause? That's a great question. Honestly, that's a great question. That shit leaves a lot for people to think about, to be honest with you. Because now it's like, what are you going to blame it on? You can't say it's any specific faith. You can't just pull a religious war out your ass and say, well, y'all did this. Like, nah, son. If you want to point the finger, what are we talking about? Billions of people, fam. If we combined all these people together, we're talking about billions of bodies, just lives gone.
Yep. And they did it without without even a second glance.
Right, that's what I'm saying. We can't say it's faith. We can't say it's religion. We can't say anybody was dogmatic and not. No, we can't say none of that. We talking about people.
Allowed it to happen. No.
We talking about people who had strictly the desire to get an upper hand in some way, shape, or form. Right. That's the most vaguest blanketed way I can phrase this. Right. Like they were trying to get the upper hand in some way, shape, or form, whether it was capital, whether it was euthanasia, whatever the case may be. You did it, bro. You I don't even know what to say to this, bro. You was cooking. You was cooking, bro. I wish you had a soundboard because I'd be letting shots off. You was cooking, man.
Shout out to my man DMG. You know what I'm saying? As always, we here because you allowed us to be here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, see, and this is what's interesting, right? This was interesting. Chris MVP Harris, I got a question for you, right? I want you to quantify that number for me and show me historically what that's quantified. Because and this is operating off the fact that you don't believe in the God of the Bible, right? Let's say you don't believe in the God of the Bible. How are you going to then go into the Bible to try to make a statement, a case to say that God did the same thing when you don't believe that anything in the Bible is real to begin with? We have literally quantitative data right now on the screen showing you that people who don't even believe in a God, they don't even believe in a God. They don't have any faith of any kind, murdering people by the millions. It's literally quantified, fam. We have a number assigned to it. We have a number assigned to it.
What they'll do is they'll try to make it seem like we're making.
And it wasn't like we didn't address it. He may have not been on when we addressed that part. So I'm just going to move on. Some people get on in their head.
And that's the point, Yolanda. I think I'm hoping I'm saying your name correctly. That's exactly the point. If you don't believe in it, then you can't quantify it. You track what I'm saying? It's impossible for you to quantify something it's not even real to you. You track what I'm saying? So why not just deal with the actual data that's on the screen? Why are we jumping into something that you don't even have faith in? It makes no sense.
Sound like he's just trolling to me.
She was saying she was talking about the Bible question.
I'm aware of that. I'm aware of Yolanda. I'm aware of that you're talking about my question. My question was in regards to Chris MVP Harris, because he said the God of the Bible did the same thing. And I'm asking him, well, if it's not real, then those bodies aren't really there and no one really died, right? And if that's the case, then why are we even bringing it up? This is common sense, sweetheart, right?
That went right over her head.
Maybe it didn't. Maybe she was responding because she agreed.
Well, it could be. I can't even see her comment. Why can't I see her comment? Hold on a second.
All right. She responded again. That's not your point. You can't quantify it if you're a believer.
That's not true. I'm a whole Christian. I can quantify the deaths that are in the Bible. There are cases in the Bible where it actually specifically talks about the number of people that have fallen. That's a fact. That's a fact. I'm saying, based on the way that Chris made his statement, it seems as if he himself doesn't believe in the God of the Bible. It
I
seemed
don't
that
agree.
way. So my response to him was, well, if you don't believe in it, then what are we even saying? What are we even saying? I don't understand. If it's not real, then how are you even pulling the God of the Bible up? Because if it's fake, then those bodies that were allegedly lost, those alleged deaths that God caused, it never happened. So why are we even talking about fictitious statements that you don't believe in when we can deal with data that's on the screen right now?
That's the same thing Jabari was saying.
We can deal with the data on the screen right now. Why are we even dealing with something that you consider to be fictitious? Why even bring it up? It's fake. That's like me saying, well, the Cat in the Hat with the best rhymer ever. He wasn't real. He wasn't real. You see
Yeah.
what I'm
So what are
saying?
we arguing about?
What are we even talking about? What are we even
if
talking
you
about? If you don't
that it's
believe in the
not
God of the
real,
Bible, if you don't believe that the Bible is real, you don't believe that any of that's real, then what are we even discussing? Why don't we
yeah,
deal with the
there's no
data?
basis of debate if you believe that Superman is not real and I do. Well, I don't see Superman flying around, and neither do you. So what is the premise of the debate then?
What's the point? What's the point in even bringing it up? That's what I'm
Right.
saying. Like we're dealing with real data right now. What's the point? What's the point?
Oh, and by the way, Donald Trump was found guilty on all counts.
Yo,
Yeah.
D, you did a phenomenal job, bro. I can see
Yes.
ain't nobody tackling that question. I really think that was an amazing question to end on, bro. Honestly, can you move it real quick? Let me get a screenshot of it because that was phenomenal. That's a phenomenal question, bro. Like I'm not even kidding. I'm about to make that my Facebook banner photo. I
Joe Silly.
kid you not. Phenomenal.
So yeah, but I appreciate everybody that jumped on that commented or didn't comment, but they was on for a hot minute. Initially, like I said from the beginning, I'll go back to the very beginning just to give you that opening piece. The original conversation was about atheism in the forefront of conflicts. I know
Thank you. I'm glad you said that because for whatever reason, people think we talking about the Bible. I don't see how. Like we never talked about the Bible the entire show, but I don't really get it. I'm glad. Say that again, bro, before we close out.
there's atheism in the forefront of conflicts, debunking the misconception. So my initial slide was discussing a misconception. A common misconception is that atheism has not played a significant role in historical conflicts. While wars and conflicts are generally driven by a complex interplay of political, economic, and social and ideological factors. If you want the answer to the question at the end, the reality is that I'm discussing it right now. There's a complex interplay between politics, economics, social, and ideological factors. So those are the main issues right there that most people deal with. And so when we deal with those issues, or people have a desire for control, or a desire for power, or desire for resources, you get these issues, or you feel like you can do a better job controlling the country, you know. Well, I'm reading what you saying, sis. That's why I'm stopping. So a more accurate discourse would have been to compare world leaders involved in war or some sort of genocide.
Bro,
Who,
that was the basis of the entire show. She had to have jumped on at the end. That's the only explanation, honestly. So
yeah,
I think it'd be best for her to go back and watch the show because I think she's missing like the fact that you addressed all of this. You even made the comparisons between religious wars and non-religious wars. You had an entire graph. I think she should go watch the show. That's what I think she should do.
yeah. At the end of the day, I appreciate the feedback, but I did go over those things. If you care to go back, or if you don't care to go back, you know, at the end of the day, the choice is yours. But I did discuss those things in the presentation. Just a quick recap: we talked about the historical context. We went into clear leadership. People, I don't know why I'm speeding up through it, but we hit Joseph Stalin, Mao Zedong. It's skipping. Enver Hoxha. For some odd reason, it's jumping faster than I wanted to. But whatever. I've already gone through it. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Bro, good job. I learned a lot tonight. I really appreciate this conversation. This was insightful. I mean, super insightful. I'm glad you put it on. Seriously, I am. Shout out to DMG for the space, because I don't think I would have ever learned this information without this conversation taking place, to be honest with you.
I got the graph up for you, sis. I'll put that up. I'll close out. I'll give it like 3 minutes just so everybody can look at it. So non-Islamic religious wars. So where there says non-Islamic religious wars, that encompass
Christianity, Buddhism, everything, in Hinduism, the whole shebang, and then Islamic wars, and then non-religious wars all together.
And yes, that includes the Crusades. So if you look at the and this, oops, I didn't mean to do that. If you look where it says campaigns like the Crusades, it's a lot more wars that have happened in this world that people actually just don't discuss. Like, there's so many wars. It was wars that I didn't even understand. I'm like, wait a minute, that happened? You know what I mean? So it's just interesting.
Yeah, I don't, bro. I'm telling you, she should go back and watch the show. I don't think she understands the graph, bro. We spend a whole another 30 minutes explaining it. I'm telling you.
I'll just say in closing, if you look to the left, non-Islamic religious wars means every religion with the exception of Islam. Islamic wars are solely just the Islamic wars. The last piece, the highest block, is non-religious wars, meaning every war that is not religious. A lot of those are atheistic endeavors or endeavors based on sex, money, or drugs, or resources. So there's 3 different categories: wars that are not Islamic, wars that are Islamic, and non-religious wars. When I say non-Islamic wars, those are all the wars: Buddhist, Hinduism, every religion you can think of is covered in that first one, with including Christianity, with the exception of Islam. So it's broken down into 3 blocks. Maybe I'll see if I can find maybe a list, maybe top 20 wars I never heard of. Maybe that might be a show you might care. Whatever the case may be. But anywho, as she said, yeah, I'm not questioning your intelligence. I'm just giving you feedback just because you had questions.
Right.
Say less. But you're not gonna control my show either. Like, if you don't want to watch or you don't like how I'm moving, just get off. But you can easily back out. I'm gonna talk until I feel like finishing. But anywho, like, that's weird.
Wow.
Yeah, G, great show, G. I really appreciate the info, bro. It was super insightful. Thank you for holding this show. I not only did I find it insightful, but it was entertaining.
Like, I get it. You don't like our ideology or whatever, but you don't got like I try to give everybody the same respect that I would expect from them if I don't know something. If you don't want me to keep saying it, I'm gonna just continue the show. But it wasn't even long, 38 minutes. I'm under an hour, yo. So that was my shortest show. Shout out to the Dream Team. Shout out to DMG. Shout outs to the guests that listen. Shout outs to the people that got an opportunity to give me some feedback. We signing out. Peace.
Later.